I see 80 patients per day. I have 4,000 patients on my roster. I work 5 days a week, 8:30 to 4 o'clock, and I'm home at 4:30. I have 7 staff, 7 rooms. And if I lost everything today, if I had to move to another country or another province, I will be able to reproduce and rebuild it all from scratch. Not because I'm smarter than you, but because what I've built isn't a grind. It's not something based on effort. It's a system, and systems are reproducible. In this video, what I'm going to demonstrate is a step-by-step specified framework on how to build practice from average size to large size, how to create an environment that you can hire staff in a self-propelling way, and you can use it yourself to develop your own practice today. Most doctors are stuck. They're stuck at the level of 20, 25 patients per day, and no matter what they do, they can't escape it. They don't make enough money to hire someone. When they hire someone, they're afraid it's going to be just an expense, and they stay at the same level. They think it's normal, which is the worst, while the ground is escaping from their feet with prices going up and up. And now I always ask myself a question, why is it? So first, it feels normal to have the same practice like everyone around us. Same hours, same income, same throughput, same systems. Second thing is identity. We didn't go to medical school to be designing a business model. We just want to treat patients, show them our compassion, follow latest guidelines. And the third is fear. Fear of cost, of investment, of spending money. We're not trained to calculate our risk. This is not our job. And it feels like small will be safe. Being like your colleagues is safe. But then 1 week off or someone gets sick and you carry everything on your shoulders. And if I was in that exact situation, like I just described, being stuck like most of my colleagues are, or I had started my practice from scratch in another province, or I had inherited a medium-sized family practice, here's this exact step-by-step protocol that I would have used to grow from small to large size. And that protocol I called CRAFT. And I'm going to explain it to you step by step right now. Phase 1 would be C for clean. That's all the things I can do within my practice of small to medium size that doesn't require any investment, require redesigning and making sure things are put in best order. That would include making sure your billings of uninsured services are the highest level of bracket possible, that you would implement block fees. I would create an internet landing page with online booking and standardized forms to be sent to patients that they have to fill before the visit to make my appointment shorter and making me see more patients per hour. I would create easy documentation templates specifically for repetitive concerns that I don't have to reinvent the wheel 50 times a day. And if I was limited by space in my clinic, say having only 2 rooms at my disposal, I would have created a semi-third room if possible in the nook, in a side room, in potentially a storage room, or at the side of the reception where the receptionist could take vital signs from me and help me. And I would have moved all my follow-up appointments to phone calls so I can free up the space, be more efficient, despite of my limited space. Phase 2 of that framework is R for release. This is where your work is being handed out to an assistant, first assistant, beside your receptionist that you hire. And it's deliberately, in my experience, best to hire a nurse at this point, a person who has clinical experience and able to help you out the most. This is the person that will prepare your chief complaint and list of complaints agenda for the day in the room. This is the person to which you could, in a guardrailed fashion, start delegating your lab reviews and prescription refills. As the trust between you and this new person grows, you can gradually hand her over the tasks that don't entirely belong to the physician. You would also have this person review discharge summaries, prepare the updated medication list after hospital discharge, all without you in the room, all maybe a day before you see that patient. And most importantly, this will be the person to take care of your paperwork. So if you get paperwork, you wouldn't fill it on the spot for the patient, but you would take it, you put it in your assistant's box, and she would take care of it at her own time, calling patients to investigate what is it exactly about and asking all the necessary questions on the form. This is a phase where you get a release for yourself and also get relieved from the task you don't need to do as a physician. Phase 3 is A for assemble. You start collecting a team to perfect those delegations, to get more and more work taken from you, specifically the work that don't entirely belong to you. And as you grow as a medical practice, you are able to see more patients. It's because your team takes work from your hands and gives you opportunity to see more patients, which funds the team you hired in the first place. And this is what I call a self-funding loop. At this point, what's important is that flexibility of your team. Nursing team that aren't occupied, they can pick up the phone calls for you or review charts or review your lab work and present it to you. The flexibility in this phase is really important. Phase 4 is F for flow. This is the moment where you have your team, you're satisfied with the help being given to you, the work being taken from your hands to their hands, and now you encounter physical problems. You may need more rooms, you may need to expand to a new place, and as your team grows, your amount of room grows, you need more visibility. So you work on the flow, making sure that you know where your nursing team is, you know where to go next, and how to create seamless handoffs. Just like we did with doctorflow, which is a tool to increase visibility for the doctor's team and for the nursing team, and create opportunity to do one-top handoffs without the need to look for each other. Phase 5 is T for throughput. This is the phase where you optimize all your team and your room utilization. With doctorflow, you get daily and weekly reports of room utilization, time spent by each team member in a room, and most importantly, doctor idle time, which is the time that you don't spend in a room seeing patients, but you spend on distractions, you spend waiting and waiting for the rooms to be ready. That time allows us to see how can we make the doctor's day smoother so he can just keep on seeing rooms, and when he's done with the day, he starts to do a different task than that. So continue measurements means you realize where you're losing time and you realize when you're losing money and what can you do better. And this is a system that has proven efficient for myself, the system that I'm able to reproduce in other places with other physicians. And let's look at the numbers, because doctors like numbers. With every hire so far that I had in my practice, I was able to get over $2 return. That speaks for itself. Delegation is not only making you money, but it's also freeing your time and giving you more satisfaction and helping more the community. Now you can see more patients per hour, patients that would have otherwise waited for you to have availability. So from day one, I will be writing protocols, thinking how to start with the low cost changes or no cost changes. And if you are a physician stuck with 2-room practice, you may benefit from watching this video where I'm talking to my colleague Mark from the GTA, and we talk about ways to overcome the limitations of a 2-rooms practice and how to grow to a larger practice, building appropriate systems from the beginning. So if you feel stuck right now with 20-25 patients practice and you feel like there is no way out to increase it, there is a way to do this. Following a specific protocol for growth, you can grow your practice from 20 patients per day to 80 patients per day or more if you want to, just like I did. And if you want to hear more about how to work with current problems in outpatient medicine, I would love you to subscribe to my channel. I'll be posting every week. And as always, take care of yourself first.